Yeah, hi, welcome to my YouTube channel. And as usual, I'm Ufoma Omoluru. And I'm going to be teaching you today how to cut a simple jacket like this. So it's a simple jacket that has no zip, it has no darts, and you can see the beautiful bob sleeve. So if you want to know how to cut this beautiful jacket, all you need to do is stay tuned and watch the next video that you're going to see. And if you like my videos, don't forget to give a thumbs up and don't forget to subscribe, because when you subscribe you get to view my videos as they drop, and you can turn on your notification bell so you don't miss any of my videos. So what are you waiting for? Let's get into the studio and get started. So today we're going to cut a jacket, a simple jacket without a zip, without buttons, without that, but very wearable and easy to make. So to start cutting, I need to fold my fabric, fold enough to get my hip and at least 1.5 inches extra. So 1 3/4 plus will be somewhere here. Let me see, do I have, okay, I have about 2 inches, so that's fine. And this is because I want the front of my jacket to kind of overlap so that it will not be opening up so much. If I just cut directly like you do a top and it's open in the front, it may not cover well. So hence the reason for my extra at least 1.5 inches in front. So I'm going to take 1.5 inches, 1.5 inches, 1.5 inches. Then after that, I'm going to check and see my hip. So I have 11 1/4 and I still have almost 1 inch allowance. So that's great. So let me get the length of my jacket. I want 24 inches length. So instead of 24, I'm going to do 25 because of the seam allowance at the bottom and at the top. So 25, 25, 25. So I'm going to get my ruler. This is the length. That's the length of the top. Now this is the extra inch I want to add in front. If you want to add a zip, it's also important you have this kind of extra in front. So with or without the zip, I'm going to do this because I want it to overlap well. So let me get my scissors and just cut out what I need so we can have a clear table. Yeah, so I'm going to start measuring from here, not from this opening. So now we've gotten the length of our top, we've gotten the fabric to cut the width, we've seen that it's going to be sufficient. Now the next thing is the shoulder measurement. So it's a jacket, we don't want it to be snug, so normally I do 16 for myself, but I'm going to do 17. Okay, now 17 plus sewing allowance, I add half, that's 18. So 1 extra to your shoulder, so 18 for me. Now to get my armhole, I'm going to measure 8 plus 1 extra because I'm going to take off 1 at the top, that's 9. So to get the armhole, we need to just draw this. If you're not very conversant with cutting an armhole, it's easy to do this. Then you can now get your curve. So I'm going to get my curve. So you notice I did that. I didn't curve right on the square. I went inward a little, then I came out. So now the bust measurement, I'm going to be taking 40 inches bust. Now to get my waist, as we always do, even when we cut a dress, I'm going to do 16.5 for me. It depends on your back length. So 16.5 is going to be somewhere here. Let me just use a ruler to show you that. Then the bust point is just about 1 inch under the armhole. Then my hip is going to be that way, just there. So my waist 35, 36. Let me do 36, 9. Then for the bottom, my hip 45, so 11 1/4. So that's what we have. So we need to connect those markings and this way. So that's the shape, but this is a bit pointed, so as usual I'm just going to make that rounded. Okay, then I'm going to add 1/2 inch sewing allowance. 1/2 inch. I don't want so much because it's a jacket, an open one, and everything is, the sewing is going to be inside, so nothing, we don't really need so much. If you need to make an invisible sewing, then you need to just have as little as possible. So that's settled. So I'm going to cut along that line. Now I'm going to cut my armhole. Okay, now the bottom of my jacket, I don't want it to be square, I want it to be a bit rounded. It gives more form. So I'm going to take away 2 inches from the side. Then I'm just going to curve that out without affecting the length of my top, so it's just by the side. So the 2 inches is from the side, but you need to cut systematically to meet the center. Alright, so now I need to get my neckline, and to get the neckline I want it to be 4 inches, not too high, not too low. So I want 4 inches. So 4 inches. I'm going to take the 4 inches even into the allowance there. Then the width, I want it to be 3.5. So 3.5, not from here, but from this line. So 3.5. So I just want a crew neck line. So that's what I just did, and that's my neckline. So we're going to cut all the way out. Now the 3.5, this does not affect it. You need to cut inside the dress. Now I'm going to take out 1 inch from the shoulder. So 1 inch somewhere here. Now I'm going to just slant with my ruler. So without touching the top. Alright, so that's the form of our dress. So I'm going to cut this off and cut the neckline before I start cutting the back. Alright, so now we have the front. Now I'm going to layer the fabric for the back of the jacket. So I need to place this on it, and I need to take, for the back of the jacket, I'm going to do exactly the same thing like the front, but at this point where I have the extra, I'm going to make my dart line. There will be a dart line at this place, at this point. So pay attention. Normally I'm not supposed to cut exactly the same, but because I wanted that to be behind, I'm going to use exactly the same width of the front pattern. Then I'll show you what I'm going to do with that. So I'm just going to cut all across this. cut exactly the same thing like I have in front. The same shape. Yeah, so I've done that. Now I want to mark this point. That's the neck, the back, this point where I have this line in front. I'm going to make sure I get the same thing at the back. So it's about 1 3/4. So I'll take this off and I'm going to make a line, a straight line, to guide me as to what I need to work with. So 1 3/4 all the way to the bottom. So get my ruler and I'm just going to rule okay. So there you have it. So now what I'm going to do, I'm going to get my back length here as well, 16.5. It's somewhere there, 16.5. So that's the part where my back curves the most. So I'm going to form a dot line. And for me to do that, all I need to do is leaving 1/2 inch for my sewing allowance. Okay, I'm going to do that. You know, I'm just going to imagine how my back comes out. And that's what I'm doing here. So your back, you notice, it goes inward at the center of the back. Then as you go to the top, you know, it's bulkier, and that's why it formed that shape. So it's just imaginary, but you need to just imagine how your back line is formed, and that helps you to get this beautiful curve at the back. So I just take like 1/2 inch here, and as I go downwards I take 1 inch, and as I go outward again towards the bottom of the dress, I just reduce what I take out. If you do this, it helps you to form a kind of silhouette at the back even without a dart. So it's this one dart line. Okay, so now I can get my back neckline just about 1/2 inch. I don't want so much, or 1 inch. Let's do 1 inch, 3.5 wideness. So I don't need to place so that's the back, the front on it. So that's your back, and this your dart. So next we're going to cut it. We need to cut this. So you see the cut, it's wider here, here is a bit inside, then here is broader. So it takes care of the back and your jacket. Yeah, so now to cut the sleeve, I have a video I did earlier where I showed you how to cut the sleeve, so you can go back to that video. So it's a simple shirt sleeve. So I just made the length about 13 inches. So you see the curve, and that's my round sleeve where my sleeve is widest. And as it goes down a little, I just narrowed it a little because it didn't get to the elbow. So when I did 14 here, I have to do 13 here. Okay, so then the bottom of the sleeve, because it's going to be a bell sleeve, so this was what I did. I just cut long strip of fabric that is really larger than the sleeve, because if I pull the sleeve close here, you're going to see this. So the sleeve is narrow compared to this. So what I'm going to do is to pleat this to be able to fit into this and make like a bulb. And to bulb it, I cut a smaller fabric. Okay, so this is a smaller fabric. It's not as wide as wide as this, and it's not as long as the first two on. So I'm going to pleat this into this and add that to the sleeve. So for the measurements and for more information as to how I got this, you can read the description beneath the video. So I'm going to show you how I sew that, but before then I need to show you what I've done with the jacket that I cut earlier. So I had to cut a lining because the jacket is not complete without a lining. So the front part of the lining, I added the same material as the body of the jacket because sometimes the jacket flies open, so you want to see something that looks close to what you're wearing, and that was why I did this. So for the both sides, I added the purple to the black because I want to do a two-tone jacket. You can use same color or you can use any other fabric you fancy for the inner of your jacket. So I also added a fusible interface at the front part and the neck part of the lining. And for the back, I also did the same. I added the interface to the neck of the lining, so that gives a bit of weight to the jacket when it's sewn. And another thing you must also know is that the lining and the jacket, the main body of the jacket is not the same length. I cut the lining about half an inch shorter than the fabric. So if I put that on, you're going to notice that. All right, so that's it. It's a bit shorter. So when I turn, it pulls up a little. So this black won't be coming out of my jacket. So you need to do that when you sew. And make sure that your lining and your jacket is exactly the same size. So now I'm going to get to sew and come back to show you. So I need to sew lining to lining, then the jacket, the main body to the main body. So I'm going to close the back first, half an inch. Then I'm going to add this to the shoulder and do the same for the main bodies. So let me get sewing and I'll be back to show you what I did. So now after the pleat, this is what I have. I have the kissing pleats, the box pleat here, and by the two sides. So what will be left to do now is just to close and sew the sides. So you can use your sewing machine to stitch this down and that down, and you sew along. So after sewing, this is what I came out with, a beautiful sleeve like this. So you can see the part where the bob forms. All right, so that's it. So the next step the next thing we need to do now is to sew. This is the lining and this is the main jacket. So I'm just going to sew this together because I've joined the shoulders of them separately. So I'm going to place this way. Okay, you can get your pin. Then we're going to stitch around the neck, stitch down here and the bottom, then we turn over. And you're going to notch the top of the sleeve. That helps you to know where you're going to start fixing from, because most times it's better to start fixing from the shoulder. So all you need to do is, I've already stitched this together, the lining and the main body of the jacket. So you just get this right side facing right side, you put it inside, and you measure first the notched point to the center of the shoulder. Get your pin, you pin it all the way around. You need to pin it all the way around like I've done here. So I pinned all around to make sure that it fits. Now that I know it fits, all I need to do is start sewing, and that's the final part of my jacket. So 1/2 inch all the way, and our jacket is almost ready to be worn. So just sew round, and the pins are holding it in place, so you don't have much of a problem. All you need to do is make sure the ends are together, and you just keep sewing all the way round.